Greetings all! Today we will be examining the relatively rare Dragon Ground type Pokemon Gible, the Land Shark Pokémon, its rare evolution Gabite, the Cave Pokémon, and its exceptionally rare final evolution Garchomp, the Mach Pokémon. While they might be somewhat cute at a young age, the members of the Gible family are powerful monsters that can eventually develop into some of the most dangerous Dragon-type Pokemon known.
Gible have small, stout bodies with grayish-blue scales across most of their form, with hands and feet with 3 digits each, and a pair of ovoid electrosensitive structures on the side of their head, as well as a large fin on their head, with an additional notch in its form if they are male that serves as a gender marker for all of the evolutions. Their large black eyes sit above a slight snout as their red underbelly comes up towards their mouth, which is armed with a pair of fangs on the bottom and 2 pairs on the top, though they are dwarfed by the sheer size of their maw compared to the rest of their body. Their evolved form Gabite have a much taller grayish-blue frame with 3 white claws on each foot, a series of sharp spines on their upper thighs, a single massive claw on each hand with fins on their forearms, as well as a large stout tail with a small fin at the end and a larger one on their back. They have a lavender-blue undertail and stripes on their ovoid head structures as they maintain their red underbelly, though their head is now of more of a normalized proportion relative to the rest of their body size, and their eyes have turned a bright yellow color. Their final evolution Garchomp have a very similar body form, though with separated barbs on their upper thighs, 2 smaller pairs on each of the upper arms, and a tail with a crescent-shaped end and tail tip. There is a patch of yellow scales near the privates, as well as a bright multi-armed star on their snouts, and their forms as a whole look more muscled and streamlined. It is also noted that these creatures have access to a Mega Evolve form, and in this state, the massive influx of energy that comes with Mega Evolution causes large red spines to develop on their thighs, as well as a series of barbed spines on the sides of their chest, their lower jaw becoming more angular and seemingly a bit deformed. This is because the sudden influx of energy has the effect of changing the overall outflow of energy in Garchomp, supercharging their muscle systems and causing not only this facial deformation, but also causing their upper limbs to overflow with so much energy that they melt from wing-like limbs into massive red-bordered armored scythes.
While Gible and their evolutions are most commonly found in places like the Sinnoh region today, it is believed that the entire family actually originated much closer to the tropics, which would explain their presence in places like the Alola region.
Gible in particular absolutely hate the cold and spend nearly their entire lives within the confines of caverns heated by geothermal energy, even huddling close to each other when the weather outside turns cold. This can make things especially difficult for trainers on a limited budget, as even warm climate in places like the Alola region is not enough to satisfy their temperature requirements and thus require a great deal of artificial heat in order to keep them happy and healthy. Unlike Gible, who tend to be rather friendly to others, the evolution Gabite are ruthless creatures that gladly take on all kinds of opponents just to prove their strength and wit in combat. Not surprisingly, Gabite also tend to live by themselves in large caverns dug by hand in the sides of mountains, using the protrusions on the sides of their head to emit ultrasonic cries to probe and navigate pitch-black caverns, and rarely interact with anyone outside of their prey.
Gabite usually end up digging caverns that are far larger than what they actually need, though the exact reason why is unclear. It is possible, however, that this may merely be because Gabite need plenty of room to deliver their potent dual chop attack, which they acquire after evolving in case of invasion.
While they might look similar to Gible, the scales of Gabite, which they regularly shed as they grow larger, are coated with a special organic biofilm that hardens instantly upon coming into contact with the air and helps to insulate their bodies against the effects of cold temperatures. Interestingly enough, this biofilm can also prove to be an invigorating healing tonic if ground up and mixed with certain herbs, in turn making Gabite scales an exceptionally important ingredient in some of the most powerful herbal remedies legally and illegally available for purchase on the market, though good luck getting one from a live specimen. Evolution further into Garchomp enables these creatures to glide, and while the flight motion of Garchomp is still being studied extensively, it appears that this strange flight is enabled due to their streamlined and often razor-sharp scales, which also happen to be the most aerodynamically efficient objects on the planet. Not surprisingly, this has led many commercial airline companies to try and replicate the design of Garchomp scales, but their exceptional complexity has so far made a perfect copy impossible to make. Aside from granting Garchomp exceptional speed on the ground, By folding their bodies and extending their limbs before leaping, Garchomp can easily obtain enough height and distance to send themselves into a massive glide that might as well be thought of as flight, even if they really aren't flying. In the air, Garchomp can actually move faster than on the ground because they don't have to worry about keeping their legs from snapping under pressure, in turn allowing them to glide slightly faster than the speed of sound, making it hard to escape from them if they're in pursuit.
This combines well with their ground-type attributes developed as a consequence of cave life, which allow them to hide themselves in blistering sandstorms and thus give them access to Sand Veil as their only base ability, while individuals with sharper than normal scales can also have rough skin as a hidden ability.
In looking at their stats, Garchomp in particular, it becomes even more apparent how much of a force of destruction they can be in battle, as well the resistance to physical attacks might not be that terrible, and even higher than the resistance to special attacks, their base defense stat is still below average for a fully evolved dragon and ground-type Pokemon, while the base special attack and special defense stats are above average for a fully evolved ground-type Pokemon, and the base HP, attack, and speed stats are above average for a fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types. They in turn possess the highest base HP stat out of all non-legendary and non-UB dragon-type Pokemon, and as a whole, these brutish beasts can more than make themselves a force to be feared in any fight if they can't be outsped and overpowered.
Although they might be fairly small, Gible are powerful creatures that can deal devastating amounts of damage in battle with their jaws.
Because their mouths take up an exceptionally disproportionate amount of the skull, despite their stomach not being very large at all, Gible are able to bite down with enough force to leave a mark even in a steel plate. They might not have the ability to use the attack freely in battle as a conventional move, but if a Gible does manage to bite something, it's guaranteed to cause some massive damage. Unfortunately, Gible rarely use their massive jaws in battle, instead preferring to rely on moves like Tackle at a young age, because the force of their own bite has been known to chip their own teeth, and biting down on an opponent can prove potentially lethal if the Gible is violently shaken in an attempt to detach it. This is because their jaw reaches far past the point where their brain actually begins, in turn meaning that rotational motion experienced in the jaw can be directly transferred to their brain, potentially causing hemorrhaging and spinal torsion. Moreover, due to the disproportionate arrangement of their skulls, Gible cannot hunt creatures that are above or below them and can generally only attack horizontally. To compensate for this, these creatures live within small horizontal holes carved into the walls of caverns and simply wait in their nest until prey manages to walk by. At that point, they simply attack and either drag their prey whole into their lair to finish them off, or, if the target is too big for this to work, bite off whatever they can and run away to safety. This hardly seems to affect their fighting spirit, however, as Gible are generally quite eager to fight and enjoy proving themselves against larger opponents, flying right at anything that enters their field of vision and biting it without much care towards their personal safety, so they still can prove to be useful combatants in this sense.
Despite their brutish attitudes, Gabite do show some irregular complexity within their behavior when it comes to one particular type of object: gems.
The Sinnoh region in particular is well known for its massive underground tunnels and vast collections of underground gems. In fact, the sheer volume of material within the rocks of this region is absolutely astounding, though its exact origins can't be derived from little more than simple tectonic luck. Gabite often uncover many gems while digging their homes shortly after evolution, and seem to be drawn towards the objects from then on until they evolve, gathering large hordes of the shiny rocks without any regard to their personal safety. Unfortunately, there does not seem to be a clear reason why. It could be that Gabite are simply attracted to shiny objects, but their interests do not transfer over to other objects whatsoever. It could be their way of attracting a mate, or otherwise showing their capacity to outwit others and acquire more gems than other Gabite, but this hypothesis is also flawed because Gabite almost never interact with other members of their own species. It could even be said that this strange behavior is just a quirk, but it stands out so strongly against their other personality traits and is so meticulous in its operation that it can't be a simple behavioral quirk. Regardless of the reasoning behind it, it seems apparent that this behavior is not something new to the species, as evidence of similar gem collecting activity has been preserved in areas once believed to house populations of Gabite. Sadly, many thieves have learned how to locate and recognize Gabite caves and have made a regular habit of looting the caves over the past few decades, in turn inducing Gabite to remain home for graded periods of time and simply stare at their gem collection with fixed, unmoving eyes, and becoming increasingly difficult to observe in the wild, fighting off thieves viciously with their sharp claws and teeth. More unfortunate is the fact that Gabite may occasionally collect carbink, mistaking them for natural jewels, furiously fighting off Sableye for them out of anger, and leaving the poor creatures to simply be stuck as part of the treasure hoard for an untold amount of time.
When Gabite evolve, they completely lose their obsession with gems and become about as independent as a single Pokemon can possibly get. In fact, Garchomp lives so well in isolation that their numbers are practically indeterminable due to their elusive nature.
In battle, Garchomp are relentless beasts that care little about their personal well-being if it means destroying the opposition, an attitude well testified by the preference towards close-quarters attacks like Crunch, which is learned immediately after evolving, as well as Dragon Rush. Their gliding abilities and notable agility also give Garchomp a tremendous advantage in battle if a quick escape needs to be made, though more often than not it is used in combination with the electro-sensitive protrusions on their heads as a way of keeping track of distant mobile prey so they can attack and devour entire flocks of bird Pokemon whole before returning to their lair, occasionally having air battles with Pokemon like Salamence when on the hunt, as they often have to compete for the same food resources. Their style of flight has consequently been a key component to modern technology, as nearly all fighter jet designs are at least vaguely based off of the body shape these beasts take while in flight. However, there is far more to Garchomp than simple brutish attitude and behavior. In truth, they are actually quite intelligent and are generally methodical about their tactics, preferring to strike where their opponent is most vulnerable than waste stamina simply toying with them. In turn, Garchomp do not like leaving a job unfinished and will gladly chase prey and opponents alike down without end. This is made even worse by the fact that Garchomp tend to be a walking hazard when moving on the ground. Much as their fins are capable of slicing through the air when gliding, Garchomp are capable of generating powerful blasts of air when running simply by extending their fins. While this may slow them down a bit, these blades of air are actually powerful enough to slice through trees with little effort, making any space other than behind them at a distance a dangerous place to be. With their destructive abilities though, Garchomp are actually well-tempered creatures that are fairly obedient and remarkably easy to train in comparison to other Dragon-type Pokemon or even their pre-evolved form, so even less experienced Dragon Tamers can handle their power with little difficulty.
It is lastly noted that Garchomp is one of only a select number of Pokemon known to be capable of undergoing Mega Evolution.
With a Garchomp bite clutched in his teeth, the change in energy overflow that occurs as a result of Mega Evolution does not alter the size or even the mass of these beasts, but it does cause their aggression to increase immensely and drives them completely mad with rage, rendering them psychotic monsters that will wildly slice apart the ground or whatever dares to get in their way in battle. In combination with this change in mind, the scales of Mega Garchomp flare up a bit and stiffen, deflecting physical and special attacks a bit and reducing these beasts' ability to feel pain, almost to the point of not feeling anything at all. The overall final body shape of these beasts lacks the streamlined form they once possessed, but it more than replaces it with violent fury and massive offensive power. In terms of stats, this alteration in energy flow causes a slight decrease in the base speed stat of Mega Garchomp, but more than compensates them by slightly increasing their base special defense stat, moderately increasing their base defense stat, and critically increasing their base attack and special attack stats. In turn, they gain the highest base attack stat and base stat total out of all non-legendary ground-type Pokemon, as well as the highest base attack stat and base stat total, the latter tied with Mega Salamence, out of all non-legendary Dragon-type Pokemon, retaining their base HP record. In addition to this, the actions of Mega Garchomp are different when in a sandstorm than normal. Instead of using a sandstorm environment to hide themselves from their attackers, Mega Garchomp take a more aggressive approach to their environment and use it to bolster their amplified offensive abilities, effectively converting their ability to Sand Force. Mega Garchomp are considerably different both physically and mentally from their normal form and can thus be incredibly dangerous to handle, but the sheer destructive power that these monsters possess is simply too good for some trainers to pass up.
Dragon-type Pokemon always come with notable power that often puts them above the rest in some fashion or another, and the members of this feisty family truly are no different. On the one hand, they can evolve a bit faster than other pseudo-legendary families, but this does come at a bit of a cost, as they don't learn new moves readily and take a long time to completely make the most of. Even so, Gible and its evolutions are quite powerful and can make good use of their high stamina and deceptive speed to close the distance between themselves and any opponent with little worry. And there are very few dragon types that can match what they are capable of in a combat situation. Their ground type attributes do sadly make them extremely weak to ice type assaults, and thus can be shut down rather quickly when such offenses are accessible, even with their high stamina. But given that even their skills are sharp, getting near them is a foolish venture and should thus be avoided at all costs, especially if they're in a mega evolved state, where even their own trainers might not be totally safe. It takes skill and patience to truly bring out the best these beasts can offer, but for those up to the challenge, there are a few other dragon-type Pokemon that can prove to be as much of a hassle to deal with as these land sharks, and should be approached with great caution and defensive strength in turn.
Perfectly built for hot, cavernous terrain and capable of proving to be beyond ruthless in the right cases, the members of the Gible family are agile dragons that can put both great power and agility to good work in tearing apart others. It might take some time for them to get access to their best offenses, but with the right amount of training and effort, there are a few things outside of extreme cold that these monsters can't handle.
Just do yourself a favor and steer clear of these beasts when they're out on a hunt. You may not be their kind of usual fare, but if the opportunity presents itself, they may not think twice about plowing into you at Mach speed and taking a bite out of you in the process, one whose effects might not hit until after the sonic boom goes off from their flight.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Utitus, and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.